The comments have been described as crazy, outrageous, dangerous, unacceptable, ignorant and ill-informed. Pauline Hanson is under fire for casting doubts on the benefits of immunisation.
What I have said is, I advise parents to go out and do their own research with regards to this.
Vaccinations save lives, clearly save lives.
Barry, look, there's enough information out there. No one is going to care any more about the child than the parents themselves. Make an informed decision.
All right, so if you really want to make an informed decision, listen to the experts.
The science on this is clear. The evidence has been with us for hundreds of years. She needs to pull her head in, and she needs to distance herself from the crazies who are associated with the anti-vaccination movement.
I had a recent 2-year-old who'd been discharged after having a brain infection that nearly killed them. Their parents had chosen not to vaccinate that child.
If this having vaccinations and having measles vaccinations is actually going to, stop these diseases, fine, no problems.
The science is really clear on vaccinations. Not vaccinating your child potentially harms your child, but also other people in the community.
Since widespread childhood immunisation was introduced in Australia about 65 years ago, the death rate from infectious diseases has fallen by 99%. Alongside sanitation, anaesthesia and antibiotics, vaccination is considered one of the greatest medical developments of the last 150 years. Too young to be immunised themselves, the most vulnerable little babies rely on our community immunisation to keep them safe. So if Senator Hanson's comments have made you think twice about vaccination, I want you to remember little Riley. Just 3 days after that video, little Riley died from whooping cough. He lived for just 32 days. Pauline Hanson clarified her comments this morning.
If that's what their doctor tells them, that they need to have the vaccination done, that's up to the person. Go and talk to your doctor.
She should have thought about this before she said this. She has a following, and it's really, really dangerous for someone like her to be pretending to know something about medicine when she knows nothing about it at all.
Toni McCaffery lost her 1-month-old daughter to whooping cough in March 2009, and she joins us now. Toni, I know this must be a really tough time of year for you, so thank you so much for joining us. Tell us what happened to your little Dana.
Well, 8 years ago, this week, actually, I had Dana. She was perfectly healthy, beautiful little girl. And when she was about 11 days old, I noticed that she had what I thought was a cold, a blocked nose, and was very unsettled. And I went back and forth to a doctor about 4 times until they suggested we test her, and she tested positive for pertussis, or whooping cough. And I was actually relieved with the diagnosis, because I thought, great, we can go to hospital and they can fix it. And it's about this time, 8 years ago, that we made the decision that we had to be airlifted to an intensive care unit, and she was put on a ventilator. And sadly, 2 days later, she died. So it was between when I got a diagnosis, 5 days later, my baby was dead.
So how did you find out where it originated from, where she had picked up this whooping cough from?
We just didn't know, and about the week after Dana died, because no one in our family had it, no one else had it, I didn't know where it had come from. I rang my older daughter, who was 4, her childcare centre, where she went to preschool, and they told me that they'd had 6 confirmed cases of whooping cough that week, which would have meant that I had taken Dana there. I walked her into a centre where she caught a death sentence.
So what did you think? I mean, I can imagine, I know what you thought, Toni, when you heard Pauline Hanson's comments.
I was devastated. I was also in complete disbelief. I thought we were over all of this. Yeah, I'm very raw at the moment. I'm very sad. I'm thinking, how can someone spread such dangerous and misleading information when, I've been witness to what this disease can do. I watched my daughter choke to death. And if someone is in a position of power, they should be basing any statements on fact. You can have your opinions, but when your child's on a ventilator, there's not much, you know, you can't really argue with a disease, and these diseases are ruthless. In the case of whooping cough, you know, 60% of babies will be hospitalised and at risk of pneumonia. When they cough, they break ribs, they burst, you know, their eye capillaries, they're at risk of lung collapse. And I just watched my tiny daughter, you know, struggling to breathe, and, you know, with every cough her eyes got wider and wider, and she just pleaded with me for help. And there was nothing that the doctors could do. Because what people have to understand is that these vaccines are in place because there is no cure.
Toni, I know this can't have been easy. We greatly appreciate you taking the time to speak to us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe Pauline needs to meet with those families to get a better understanding of what it can do.
Yeah.